Hey, what's up guys? I'm Joe and this is a Bradford entry gate. Hey guys, we're here on site here in Worcester at Woodland Estates. This is a 12 lot development. So I'm going to walk you through the gate and motors and entry system and how we planned and performed this project. So let's get into it.
All right guys, we got a gate going in. We did this fence probably like a year and a half ago or so, and then had these posts, and then the contractor had these rock columns put up. But they've been wanting to hold off on the gates while they got some construction done and getting prepped. So we got these gates that are finally going in. You can see it's gonna be a double. This is one side of it. So we're getting our hinges prepped and welded on there. And we'll start with this side, get it hung, then line it up this other side. So stay tuned, see how it comes along. This setup, it's gonna have, this is gonna swing, so it's gonna swing in because of the way that this slopes down as we're hanging this. So in the future, they're still gonna put asphalt on this road. So we've got to make sure we accommodate for the height of our gates, that we've got extra room down there for a layer of asphalt. So it's going to be 2 pad mounted swing gate operators. There are going to be some Maxes, we'll show you those. So there'll be one to set here and then one to set there. So once we get our gates up, we'll get those in. Brandon's working on getting some wiring run before we set those operators. That's going to be a cellular keypad entry system there at that pedestal post for guests and things. Our safety loops already in. They were buried below the below the gravel, and then we've got an exit loop in the drive back here that when people are exiting, it'll trigger the gates to open. Also, you can see they wanted to incorporate these stone columns with these gates. So inside this stone column is a 6x6 post that we set prior to the masonry, and same with that. And then we welded these extensions out from our post and they rocked around it. But that's a very important thing if you're wanting to do masonry. There's a few different options of how you can orient the rock or the brick, but you do want to make sure that you've got an internal post that the gate is actually hanging off of, because you wouldn't get enough strength by just having a masonry column and then trying to attach or hang the gate from just that masonry. So it's very, very important that you plan accordingly and have some kind of internal post that actually is supporting the weight of that gate. So another thing to plan for on a project like this is your electric. There are both electric and solar options for a property like this that's going to be a commercial grade operators with numerous residents. There's still numerous houses to be built back here, so there's going to be quite a bit of traffic. So the best option here, and for the accessories like the cellular keypad, does require electric. So there are different things with the size of the gate, the amount of traffic, and the accessories that you want that would determine whether you could do solar or electric. So with this setup, it is best case to have electric, and this is going to be electric setup. So with that, you've got to coordinate and find out where you're going to be able to get electric from. Here, the electricians were able to set a meter for this gate and get electricity from the pole that's out here by the road. So they don't have everything set up yet. They've got everything roughed in, but down here there will be a dedicated breaker that they'll run power to our motors, and then the keypad is a low voltage that will pull from the motor to power the keypad over there. We've got our hinge. We got some marks up here that's for the top of this bracket and the inside edge so that it's centered up. So what we'll do is we'll weld this top hinge on, and then we'll bolt the bottom one to the gate, and then we'll position that top one in, and then weld the bottom in place. Brandon is mounting our photo eye, which would be the safety eye that goes across the opening. We got our first gate in, and we ran, you see the string, we ran a string line across the top to mark where our second gate's gonna go. So we're working on getting the hinges in the right place and getting hinges on the second gate, and then we'll get it up over here, get it all lined up and leveled and ready to go. All right, we got our keypad mounted and wired up. It won't be ready till we get the operator set and powered up, but it's all roughed in and ready to go. Prepping our spots for where those hinges will weld on, grind down that paint, and then we'll weld our hinges where they need to go. All right, we got both gates in, and I didn't get any footage of us hanging this one because it was all hands on deck. These things are pretty heavy, but we ran our top line and got a reference point over here and measured down to exactly where our hinge needed to be, and man, we lucked out. We were right where we needed to be. We adjusted the hinges a little bit to line these up here in the middle, so we were able to do it in one shot, not having to move this up and down to get all lined up. So we're finishing up welding all the hinges up real nice and complete, and then we'll be able to move on to getting these operators. Brandon's working on setting the operator motor, and we'll be working on getting the operators up and running. This is our Max 1400 Pro swing gate operator. See, Brandon's got a lot of the wiring already pre-done. He's got our ground rod already ready to attach to the chassis here. So this motor sits like this with the control board to the back, and then we have to do some measurements and position there's a certain distance from the center of your hinge back, and then from the center of your hinge over to this center pivot point. So this is the pivot point where the actual motor turns to turn to either open or close that gate. So the geometry or the measurements between the hinge and this center point are very important. So we'll start taking some measurements and get this operator positioned exactly where we want it, and then we'll drill and bolt down the operator to this concrete pad. Then from there we'll work on getting our arm installed and attached to the gate. All right, so we got our distance back from the hinge and our distance over to this. Then we've drilled and set our operator so it's mounted, and then we're unpackaging the arms. There's two arms, a shorter arm and a longer arm, that will go together to connect from the pivot point here to the gate. Then we're working on just touching up and painting these hinges and where we've welded.
All right, so we've talked through the gates, the motors, your post and masonry, how to plan and coordinate for that, and then the electric options. But what we haven't talked about is your entry system. So this particular entry system is a cell gate. This is a cellular-based entry system, so it's not powered on just yet. Brandon's working on that right now. But this allows for a guest or anybody to come and call a resident that's here, and then they can either allow or deny access. This also, with the cellular package, allows the residents or whoever has the app to open or close or control the gate remotely from their phone. The other cool thing about this is, like here, they're still under construction, so they want to be able to open the gates in the morning, have them open for most of the day for construction traffic, and then close them in the evening. So through the back end of the cell gate system, they can set up schedules and have different times that it opens and closes, and a lot of versatility and options there with it. But just when you're planning and looking into your gate project. There's numerous entry systems of being able through a keypad, call features like this, either app features, and then also things like just a typical garage, like garage door remote that would trigger the gates. But you want to just think through how you're going to get into the property, and then how guests and others will be able to get in, and that you will either allow or deny access through the gate. All right, so we just walked through this entry system and entry gate. Hope that was helpful. Make sure and like this video, that helps us out a ton, and subscribe to the channel for more gates just like this.